This week I'm showing you a clip from an interview that I did with Chad. He gives some great tips and tricks on how you can help your taxidermist out when field dressing your deer. Let me know of any other suggestions that you guys may have had that we didn't cover that helps your taxidermist out. I think so. Like one of the questions that I was pumped to ask you about is basically just like, what are some fielding tips that you could give to hunters to like give you a better presentation of their mount? So like I'm
Okay.
sure like you see people like mess it up all the time, or like if they only did this, it would save them or save you so
Yeah.
much time, you know?
Yeah. I could go on for a long time about that, but there's a, I think the biggest thing is like everybody shoots a deer and they want to show it off to everybody. And like,
Mhm.
you got to get it skinned out and cooled down, especially in archery season. You have a certain amount of time, but like if it's September, October, you got to get it cooled off in a hurry because it is the second the deer dies, bacteria starts growing.
Mm.
And the longer it goes not being cold or frozen, the worse, the better chance I guess you have of having issues. The
Okay.
worse it could be. That's probably the biggest thing. And then the second biggest thing would be make sure you leave enough skin. Like when you cut the cape off, don't cut it too short because I get a lot of them that are half the armpits and half the, not, everybody needs a lot. You can always get rid of it. I can't add to it. So
Okay. All right. So it's better just to maybe just bring the whole thing.
bring the
Like
whole
if it,
thing. I always tell people like when you're gutting a deer, when you go up and you hit the rib cage, that's where I do my circle around. And that way I have the arms, I have the shoulders, I have all that, and I can always cut it off if it's too long. But that's what I tell people. But the whole thing is also fine too, because I can cut it myself then. But
sure, more working room.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's always better than less because I've had them where you got to try and add a little habitat or do something to cover up the skin that isn't there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. About how many people would you say that, or hunters would you say that you do in a season as far as like taxidermy work goes?
It depends on the season. Usually like right around 20, 25 is like a normal year. Last year, with the way things were, you couldn't get deer forms, you couldn't get foam, you couldn't get anything. So like last year I kind of just didn't take a whole lot in because I was like, I don't want to have these things for 2 years and not know what I'm doing with them. So I kind of just backed off. And that's one nice thing about it not being my full-time job. It doesn't matter that much. So I kind of just backed off a little bit last year, but I'm hoping things are pretty much back to normal now as far as getting stuff goes. So I'm hoping to take more in again this year. But
Nice.
yeah, it depends on the season though. Usually about 20, 25 is average. So
Okay.
I don't, I don't get a ton, but I get enough to keep me busy. I still work 40, 45 hours a week. So,
Sure.
and then,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't need 100 of them yet, but
Yeah, I definitely get it. Yeah, for sure. And like, what's the turnaround time usually on like one of those things? Like, I'm sure it's like an intricate process of just doing one mount, you know?
yeah, it is. There's a lot of time involved in each deer. I try and get everybody's back. I do them in the order I took them in. So like I'm usually done before hunting season starts again in September or right around there is what I try and shoot for to have everybody's back. So the guy that shot his in September might have his back by Christmas, but the guy that shot his in December might not have it back till September. So
Sure.
as
Sure.
soon as I do all my own tanning. So in the wintertime when I don't work at landscaping, I do all my tanning because I can mount a deer on the weekends easy enough, but it takes a couple days to do your tanning, a couple days consecutive. So I need that in the wintertime. I get all that done and then I can mount them as I go. But
Okay. I find that fascinating. That's awesome. That's cool to hear about it and stuff, you know, just the
it's
process of
fun.
how it
It's
goes.
it's it's a lot. A lot more than I ever imagined when I first started learning. I know that there's a lot to it, and I'm starting to get more into like the fur bearers and I've never mounted a turkey in my life, and I shot two really nice ones this year. So I'm gonna get the one. I've never got a turkey mounted either. I'm gonna get one done by someone that does them all the time, and then I bought a bunch of DVDs, and I'm gonna try and learn how to do one myself because I've
That's
never done.
awesome.
So yeah, I never really had any interest in doing turkeys, but like it doesn't hurt to learn. So
Yeah,
I don't know
absolutely.
if I'll ever offer it to customers until I get good at it, but
Right.
at least
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it anyway. So
Yeah, for sure. You got to try, right?
yeah, exactly. Yep.